All right, here we are. We are live. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Really excited for today's episode, today's talk, Thursday talk, Thursday thoughts. This one's going to be a really good one, and I think it's going to maybe highlight a lot of areas that you could maybe improve on. And I think it will be maybe a little bit of a wake up call for a lot of you guys who are, possibly on your weight loss journeys or fitness journeys in general and are just really struggling like day to day executing on these things. Like maybe you're working with a coach and they've given you calorie goals, or maybe you are just trying to generally eat healthy, right? Maybe you don't have a weight loss goal, but you just keep falling short and keep overeating and gaining weight, and you don't know why you just can't be more disciplined. This talk might open your eyes as to what might be really going on under the surface. So I was having a conversation with a client, and this was about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. And this client who I'm referring to, she has gone through a lot over the past month or two. Her life has been completely flipped upside down. So many changes going on in her life, and I'm not going to go into details because obviously, that's her life, and that's her story to tell and everything. But major life changes, and I am just incredibly proud of how she's handled all of this. Like, she's continued checking in. She's continued putting in effort, right? Maybe we've taken a step back from some things regarding her nutrition and fitness and her workouts and things, but she's still shown up. She's still putting in effort, and she's handled this huge life change with so much grace, so much courage, and it's been honestly really inspiring for me to kind of be on the sidelines and watch her go through this. I feel like I'm watching her go through this huge growth period in her life. But aside from that, so many elements of her life have completely changed. Like I said, her life has been completely flipped upside down. Like things like who she hangs out with, things she decides to go out and do with friends, things she values have changed. And with this huge transition, like I've seen firsthand from, things she's doing, things she's talking about in her check-in responses, she's really learning to enjoy life a lot more too. And I want to read you this message that she sent me a couple of weeks ago, this text message. So obviously, our clients, we message back and forth all the time, but I'm going to read this, and I'm going to read it word for word for you because I think it's really powerful. Quote, "It's weird, like lately, I've just been caring so much about spending time with people I care about and laughing and being happy that food isn't the only source of joy for me. And it's just like fuel for me," which I hope is something that kind of sticks here on out. So let me kind of just like rephrase that. Lately, she's been caring so much about spending time with, her friends, her family, the people she loves, the people she cares about during this huge transition. And, she feels like food isn't the only source of joy for her anymore, which previously it was. And she's hoping, obviously, this feeling sticks around, right? And that message was so powerful to me. And for, multiple reasons. One is because, like, she's lost 15 pounds so far. She's seeing incredible results, which is obviously like really cool. Like seeing that weight loss, seeing her body change and everything, her clothes fitting better. But like this message is even bigger than that. And just a little disclaimer too on this client. This client has a history of struggling with an eating disorder. Not currently, and she hasn't been necessarily directly struggling with it for a while. But if you've ever been diagnosed with an eating disorder, you know that those feelings, they never really 100% go away. They always kind of stick around. So, like, this message that food isn't her only source of joy anymore, and food isn't her only source of joy anymore, and she doesn't even really think about food that much. She's thinking about spending time with her friends and family, and food is just, like, kind of fuel to her. Like, she doesn't obsess over it anymore, especially coming from somebody who their entire life, growing up revolved around food, right? If you have an eating disorder, your entire life, all of your thoughts every single day, every minute, every second are probably like thinking all about food. And now she doesn't really think about it, and she doesn't have that attachment to it anymore, and it doesn't have that power over her anymore. And I just thought this was so powerful that it got me thinking, like, what's going on here? Like, what caused this big shift to happen to where now food isn't something that she relies on so much? And I think it comes down to a few things after, thinking about this more. One, absolutely, I'm just going to say this, our program and how we show you that there are no good and bad foods, and we teach you the right mentality around hitting your goals versus not hitting your goals, not beating yourself up about it, and then also showing you how to create a lifestyle around, tracking your food, around hitting these goals, right? We make it very doable. We show you how to be flexible with things to where you're not obsessing over it. So I think a big part of it is our program and the approach we take and everything. And I'll just, I guess, pat myself on the back for that. But I think also a big part of this is her big life change that has occurred. And like I said, I'm not going to get into details with it, but with this big life change, she's been prioritizing herself more and more and more. And she's been prioritizing her own happiness and joy more and more by, like I said, enjoying more time with friends and family. She's been taking care of herself more. She's been ultimately, from, all of the check-in responses, all the conversations we've had back and forth, I'm seeing her become more fulfilled in all of these areas of her life that she previously maybe wasn't really, as fulfilled with before this big life change happened. And, I think this comes back to, for so many of us, we try to use food, and we do this subconsciously. We don't even really necessarily consciously think about it, but we do this subconsciously, and we try to use food as a way to fill this void that we have from other areas of our life. This could be a void in relationships. This could be a void in friendships. This could be, issues you're having in romantic relationships. This could be, work stress, career stress, personal growth. Maybe you feel like you're not growing as a person and you're unfulfilled in that way. Anything, you name it. But if there is a void in any of those, areas, right? Friendships, romantic relationships, other relationships, work, personal growth, hobbies. If there's this kind of void there, we're going to feel that emptiness in some way. And food is a vice that so many of us choose to fill that emptiness with. Some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to drugs, some people turn to other things. But a lot of us turn to food to fill that void, especially it ends up being very high calorie foods, because those foods have such strong taste sensations that we get from them that really spike dopamine. So they give us a really quick dopamine response, make us feel very good in the short term, but a lot of times in the long term, they don't make us feel as good. And then what happens is that short-term spike in dopamine happens, and then our dopamine starts to come back down. We start to not feel as happy and everything, almost going into a little bit of a sadness, depressive state. And then we turn right back to food again to fill that void, because those other areas aren't filling it, right? Your career isn't filling it. You hate your job. You hate your boss. You hate your work hours. You hate how you're treated at work. You hate your pay, maybe. Or like I said, relationships. Maybe you and your spouse, don't feel connected anymore. Or maybe, your boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other, you guys are having issues. When you can't turn to those things to fill these voids, or when those voids are created because those areas aren't going well, then food is just a very easy source to turn to, especially because, like I said, it's convenient. There's food everywhere. It's something that we need to survive, so we can't just, with alcohol, you could just not put alcohol in the house at all, but you can't just not put food in the house. You need food to survive, right? Food is ultimately overall good for us, but we can turn to it in a negative way if we have all these other areas that we're not fulfilled in. And this isn't to say that food can't be or shouldn't be there for enjoyment, because I think food definitely has its time and place for sure of enjoyment, right? Like celebrations, right? There's enjoyment of having, your grandma's famous pie recipe, or the cookies that your mom makes every Christmas. Those things give us enjoyment out of taste, out of sentimental value, and things like that. So I don't think food should just be strictly viewed as fuel. But if you're always overeating, especially very high calorie foods, a lot of times it's helpful to dig deep and think, is this happening because I'm actually like physiologically hungry, or because I'm actually physiologically restricting something? Or is it happening because all of these other areas of my life are not where I want them to be? And maybe these other areas of life, like I said, they're not even related to health and fitness at all. But that lack of fulfillment in those areas is affecting then our health and fitness if it's causing us to, overeat in those ways. And like I said, it could come down to, fighting with your spouse. It could come down to arguments with your kids. It can come down to financial stress. It could come down to just a lack of goals in general, right? So many people go through life never actually they go through kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, maybe college. They go through, those areas, and then searching for a job, and they go through all of that, and they always have like this next milestone to hit, right? And you're going into third grade now, you're going into middle school, then you're going into high school, then you're going into college, then you're getting a job, and then maybe you're getting, that next position up in your job. But so many people go through that, and then after they get to a certain point, they just kind of stop when it comes to setting goals, and they get complacent, and that like lack of pursuit of new goals causes you to be unfulfilled overall in your life too. And it's this weird like dark cloud that kind of hovers over you, I find, when I, talk to people about this, and even my own experiences where you don't even really notice what it is, but something just feels off. You just don't feel good. And I think that comes down to not having new goals to pursue. But that's kind of, we could go down a rabbit hole there. But also if you're unhappy at work too, a lot of times that comes down to it. And this is why I try and talk with our clients about these things as much as I can, right? And, some clients are super open about sharing these experiences, which obviously, helps me to give feedback back and just be there to like be a listening ear and to, hear them, like truly hear them. And some clients are a little bit more, closed off, and that's their personality, and that's okay too. But this is why we communicate with our clients so often, and don't just give you like a calorie goal and a workout plan and say, hey, see you later, talk to you in a week, right? This is why we always push for clients to really take advantage of, being able to message us throughout the week, and, the communities that we have with all of our clients together, in group chats and things. Because, if you think that all you need is for somebody to tell you what to do and you'll do it, you're probably wrong. You're likely going to need more support than that, because we're humans. We're not robots. We're not here to just follow, oh, this is my calorie goal, I'm going to just hit this, right? And I'm trying to talk in a robotic voice, which probably sounds ridiculous if you're listening. And maybe you're in the 1%. Maybe you're the 1% of people on this earth who, like, all you need to know is a number to hit, and you're going to hit it no matter what, and you have very little emotions around everything else. But most of us aren't that way. And if you think you're in the 1%, based on statistics, you probably aren't. And you probably need that support in those other areas, at least somebody to help you kind of uncover some of these things that are not fulfilling you if you keep turning back for food or to food to fulfill those areas. And like all these things are so connected. Sometimes when you're really struggling with your nutrition and fitness goals, sometimes it's not the nutrition and fitness that's actually the problem. Sometimes it's that you're letting these other areas in your life that you're not giving attention to, that you're not trying to improve, that you're neglecting or ignoring, problems going on in these areas. Maybe it's those things, and a lot of times it is those things that are kind of lingering, and that's causing you, stress. It's causing you emptiness, causing this void, causing you to have this lack of fulfillment, which then all of that lack of fulfillment is affecting your nutrition, right? Because then you're turning to food to fill that area. So overall, like, just incredibly happy for this client and this huge transition in her life that she's going through. And like I said, how she's handled this like a complete rock star, and it's impressed me beyond belief. And also just so happy to see that I truly think her relationship with food, how it's gotten so much better, has, like I said, one, been because of our program and the approach we take, but two, because she's fulfilled in these other areas of her life now. So food isn't the only area that she's able to find enjoyment in anymore. So just wanted to kind of share those thoughts, share that conversation, because I think it could be a spark for a lot of you to kind of think about your own lives and think, while, you might have no idea what your calorie goal should be, and you have no idea how many workouts to do, and you have no idea about this nutrition stuff, right? Like logistically or scientifically, maybe you're in that position, right? And you need somebody to give you those set goals, but also think about your other areas of your life. And if you're turning to food because those other areas aren't where you want them to be, and maybe it's time to take the leap and, get somebody who can give you guidance on your nutrition goals, but then also make a vow to, improve all the other areas of your life too. Because if you don't improve those areas, they're going to start to affect your nutrition and your health and your fitness as well. So, those are my thoughts for today. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was eye-opening. Hope this got the gears kind of turning in your head of some things to think about. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the support. Definitely, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, give me a comment. Like, comment below if this was eye-opening, if this was something you've seen in your own life or seen in other people's lives, or maybe this just got you thinking. Like, maybe it's time to, start developing other goals to shoot for, so I feel more fulfilled there, or whatever it is. Would love to hear your feedback in the comments below. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go pick up Aiden before daycare closes. Appreciate you all, and I will see you guys in the next one.